All right, so we're back for day 2 of Banter Blitz. I guess I'll be playing with Alan today. So good luck to you, Alan. Let's have ourselves a fun match. So yesterday was a
All right, so
timeout
we're
theme
back
match,
for
so
day
let's play
2
some
of
D4
Banter
today
Blitz.
and keep things interesting. All right, so let's see what he wants. King's Indian, maybe? Nah, okay. All right, so I saw that he played this match with Erwin yesterday, and he took on c4. But with me, he's playing bishop b4. That's fine. Let's try this funky move, queen a4 check, and bishop d2. Bishop d2 is a bit unusual, but I think it's pretty decent. Yeah, so castles is already a mistake. Bishop d7 was best. And now the point is he's probably going to have to play bishop d7 in order to force me to play queen c2. Normally my queen comes back to c2 voluntarily. And here the structure is just a little uncomfortable for black. He should be more or less fine, but I somehow prefer white. So yeah, here and now queen c2, and I should be doing not too badly if I recall. I probably should throw e5 at me just to complicate the game, but I'm not sure I believe it. Yeah, maybe queen c2 is a mistake. It's probably better to play e3 first. But okay, e3. He's probably going to throw e5 sooner or later, but no. Okay. Feels pretty unpleasant for black already, actually. Maybe I'm just overestimating my position. Wouldn't be the first time. But it's a little bit hard for him to get this bishop at. A thing I've talked about a lot in my courses on Chessable, which I'm sure are being shamelessly plugged right now, is that if white or black in any queen pawn position ever puts a knight on c3 or c6, blocking their c pawn, the only way to justify that is to get e5 through, or e4 for that matter. And here I just don't think that's going to happen very easily. So queen d6 is a very sensible move. He wants to play e5. Now I have to think. Rook c1, e5, cd, and what's the big idea? I guess you can play queen d5, and then not so easy, yeah. If I take on d5 here and go bishop b5, though, that looks quite pleasant for white. I might try for rook c1 or something a bit more ambitious and another time control, but given the circumstances, I'm just going to be boring and do this. I think I'm slightly better here, but it's not that bad for him. So let's go rook c1, stop this knight from moving. He cannot play any knight e5 tricks because I will take with the pawn. So he probably has to play something like rook a c8. Yeah, there he goes, castles. And maybe he will play like knight b8 here. But, well, I will get b4 through, so I'm reasonably comfortable with this position. Knight d8 instead. Okay. Let's go bishop to d3. I don't think I'm super scared of his bishop. I'm pretty happy keeping these guys on the board, and I'm ready for b4 next, and I don't think he can stop me. So I should get your typical minority attack. Black's position obviously isn't horrible or anything like that. He's just a little worse, I think. All right, so b4, take the space. f6, whoa. I don't get that at all. All right, let's figure out what that was about. If he plays g6, man. I'm very tempted, but I'm probably going to have to be an adult here. Yeah, all right. Let's go rook f1 and prepare for e4. Knight f7. And then, where's that knight going? I don't know. All right. Let's just go. No, he's ready to play f5, though. Now that's annoying, actually. Just play e4. Yeah, all right, fine. I'll play e4. That should be fine. This kingside pawn structure for him is sort of skeptical. He's probably fine here, but man, this guy just does not care if I take on g6. Yeah, but it probably doesn't work here. Queen h7, yeah, I don't think it's quite working, so I'm gonna be an adult. It's a shame. I hate being an adult. Let's take this one. Go like h3. I still think I'm slightly better here because of his weakened kingside, but it's mostly symbolic at this point. Black should be fine. So let's go queen d2, control some key squares, potentially get ready for a4 next. Should be 6. That's a good move. He wants bishop d5. But I don't know how much I care. Play bishop d5, knight h2, and the knight is potentially eyeballing g4. So it's probably not the worst. And if I stick my knight around on e3 or something, I should be doing just fine. f5, and now the knight comes back to f1, and I think he's sort of outplaying me here, but I'm also not wildly concerned about my position. So let's go. Actually, knight g5 is going to be annoying. Yeah, I'm sort of getting outplayed here. Let's challenge this bishop, and it's a good piece. So he takes it, knight d6, come back to c1. He can play knight e4, it doesn't really do very much. Nah, this is about equal now. I will probably have to play knight back to h2 to f3, try to get the e5 square. I've definitely not played this game very well. Alright, so there, rook d1. Guess I gotta do what I gotta do. Here, queen c3. Where's that knight going? b6, I can go. Do I care about the pawn on a4? Probably not. Let's see. If I go like, let's go queen c5 and challenge this knight. It's a little bit awkward for him to keep things under control now, but he should certainly be fine. If he plays queen e7, I can even consider like knight e3. But knight f4, so that I don't fully understand. Oh, now I understand it. So I guess I have to take that and go like rook to d2 or something. This is not pretty. I've been totally outplayed. Not a good start to the match. That's okay. Queen e7, I guess I can play queen c5. Seems unpleasant, but necessary. And yeah, this game has not gone well at all. Take. I can take b4, but I will get the rook to d7 with some counterplay at least. So start with knight e3. And now, gosh, I'm getting totally outplayed here. This is gross. King f6. All right, got to start taking pawns and hoping for the best, right? So h4. Knight e4, let's go f3, I guess. Challenge the knight somehow. So h5 seems necessary, and take and take. And yeah, I might save this, but I've played very badly this game. So let's go king f2, I suppose. I've definitely not deserved to save this, but I think I might. So if I go check, he has to go back to e7 and then keep checking, or g4. Let's go make a passed pawn. Take with the knight. Knight comes to e5, and shoot, now my king gets stuck. That's a good move on his part. But challenge this rook again. c5. Getting totally outplayed, so check. Knight f6. F5, huh? Okay, so here. F4, I guess. Here. I'm talking a bit less when I have no time, but hopefully that's understandable. Here. And I think I've saved it now. Take this. Okay, tablas, maestro. Okay, so definitely got outplayed that game, but I saved it, so it's okay. To play better next. All right. So the Taimanov felt a bit risky last time, so I'm going to try the Najdorf, which is also a pretty decent opening, of course. Let's see what he has in store for me. Bishop g5, principled stuff. Okay, so how does this go now? It's like bishop h4, queen b6. And I think this is, of course this is always supposed to be okay for black, but you can also lose in 15 moves if things go wrong. But white can play, so a3 he plays, this knight bd7 move is a little tricky. Let's see if he knows what to do. Best move is bishop c4, which might not be the easiest thing if you don't know it. He didn't know it. And now the whole point is that in a structure like this one, the move bishop e7 is not a very useful one. And here, for example, now after knight c5, bishop d3, he has to play bishop d3. I will play d5. And then it goes like e5, knight f e4, and essentially at some point I'm going to play b4 and take with the bishop, and I will have saved the tempo on bishop e7. I think as a result, black gets a pretty good position here. So that, and now like, let's say I take this one on d3, he has to take with the rook, and then I go like b4. Seems pretty decent. Yeah, he has to take with the rook, and now b4 comes, and my bishop saves the tempo. All right, took the queen even. So if I play rook c8, I'm threatening bishop a3. But then he can take on e4, and it's hard to break through. I think I should probably play b4 while I still can. Take, knight cb5, a takes b5, queen b5, queen d7, and black wins. Yeah, okay, so b4 is fine. Let's do it. And I think I'm going to open up his king and be very happy that I didn't lose a tempo with my f8 bishop. So take back. If knight cb5, a takes b5 wins because of the mate threat. So take. Queen e3, and now let's say bishop back to either c5 or e7 seems best. Let's go to c5. That looks like it puts more pressure on white. And I'd be very concerned for white's king safety if I was playing the white pieces here. But who knows, it's not so clear. f5, okay, so caution to the winds, I like it. If I take on e5, not amazing. Let's just castle and get the pieces into the game. I could get myself mated in like 10 moves here, but I think I can get away with this. I'm ready for like rook ad8 or something, and my pieces are going to be pretty good pretty fast. I can even consider f6 next under some circumstances, which is a surprising move, but maybe not totally stupid. But yeah, I think I have sufficient counterplay here. Okay, bishop c3, certainly a sensible move. What if I take on e5 though? Do you have a big idea? I don't see it at least. So I'm gonna take on e5 and find out. That's also a pretty important pawn because it's gonna make it harder for him to attack my king with f6 or something like that. He probably should move his queen now, but where? And then e3 will come. I'm actually pretty confident my position's very good now. I'm ready for rook a d8 next, and this seems very good for black. Okay, so rook a d8, and I don't think there's any particularly scary tactics. The knight moves, I can take his queen. Where does the knight go? Knight c6, rook d1, bishop e3, and I win. Knight e6, rook d1, bishop e3, and I win. Yeah, okay, I believe you. Show it to me. I don't believe this. And okay, h4 is not a particularly scary move. I can play like... It's never easy in position like this one, but okay, h4, I mean, what, does he want g5? He could have just played g5 directly, but let's go like queen back to c7 maybe, and then e5 comes, but now g5 is annoying. Let's go with g takes f5. I think this is probably prudent. ef5, and now I can go like rook d5 and the other rook to d8, and I don't really believe in him killing me on the g file. Like rook hg1, rook f d8, queen h6, bishop d4, f6. So that actually is made, so I have to be a little more careful than that. But rook g1 maybe like queen f6, and I'm not a believer. Yeah, I mean, with my queen on e5 is just such a good piece, and it's so hard for him to get his knight on d4 out of the way. Maybe I should have put the rook on d6 to keep everything better protected, but this I think is fine. So if he's going to turtle up like this, I don't think he has very much compensation for a pawn. So let's start by overprotecting my stuff in a way I probably should have earlier. And now, okay, b3, what's the point? I don't really get it, but let's see. Just go a5. I don't think he can take it, so open up his king. Seems like a reasonable idea. Bishop b2, and now improve my bishop. If I get this bishop to d3 under some circumstances, it can be pretty good. But yeah, the problem is he cannot get his queen off of e3, like, or get his knight out of the way. So that one, let's just go like, let's go bishop b6, just keep it safe for the moment. Bishop b2, so he's really just sitting and waiting. All right, let's go f6 and keep my queen protected so that maybe I can play bishop d3 next. I can also at any moment take on d4, but all right, so bishop d3, and then I think that's bad news for him. Let's do it, see what happens. So take this. Now I guess I take with the queen. Or I could take with the rook. Yeah, I'll stick with the rook, that's safer. We'll get some queen endgame with extra material for me. So I take this. Then I take this, so now I win. My king comes to h7 and it's all over. So g5. g5 is coming, and I will, yeah, no checks. So I should be able to promote these pawns without a ton of trouble. h4. I'm definitely not going to get perpetualed here, so it's okay here. That was actually a stupid move, but luckily it doesn't matter. And now here, and now my king runs around here, and then here. Be careful, I don't really want to let him take my my a5 pawn, but it probably doesn't matter. All right, let's go back to f5 for a move. Always repeat once, right? And then here, G4. Here, yeah, I'm sort of misplaying this, but I think I should be able to put it away here. Yeah, so he took the pawn, but mine are going to be a lot faster, so that's okay. Here. These queen endgames are so annoying. Okay, no more checks for a move. So get the queen to e2 instead. Obviously, I would win this almost immediately if I had any time at all, but it's harder when you have nothing. And now I make a queen. Yay. Okay, so good game. That one was tougher than I thought it should have been at the end. But let's, that's the wrong way. Hang on here. This one. And Control V. Okay, so that whole d4 business didn't work so well. So let's try e4. All right, so what Sicilian are we going to play? Maybe Sveshnikov? Because I'm supposed to be terrible against that, so my guess is that's what he's going to try, and he is. But I did a little bit of preparation for that today, so maybe I'll be able to put up a little bit more of a fight than I normally do against this opening. So I'm going to play this sort of funky move g3, which is not amazing, but it's worth a try. And let's see if he knows what to do. Okay, f4 is fine. Bishop g2. I take this one. No, I think bishop e6 is the move. Yeah, so I go queen h5 here to stop him from castling. And now the line goes rook c8. And we'll see if he knows what to do. Yeah, he does. Okay. So knight e7 next. Does he know that much? Yep, he knows his thing. All right, and does he know rook c5? If he knows everything, that would suck. That one I don't think was supposed to be as great, but I mean, black's position can't be that terrible here either. I think rook c5 is a better move. I think you're supposed to play queen d7 here, but it's still not glorious. Because if I go like c3 and get my knight to c2, this should be very pleasant for white. So let's sure play c3. Why not? I think he probably could have. So yeah, I think the thing is this structure I just think is very dangerous for black. Without white squared bishops like this, my rooks are very good, and I don't think he's getting enough counterplay on the king side. For example, here, like he'd like to get e4 through, but there will be queen g4, and that's very annoying for him. I'm probably going to go play queen g4 anyway here in a move or two, but let's start with a3 and stop black from playing b4. See if he falls for something. d5, sure. Let's go. It's a little annoying. Let's go knight e3 now, and potentially knight g4 next to try to pressure black's center just a little bit. But yeah, he's probably fine here. Okay, queen f6. Seems like it's begging for f4. This is blitz. Let's do it. I'd probably be a bit more patient in a real game, but when you're playing blitz, you've got to be aggressive. Yeah, he should be fine after queen g6 here. Let's hope he doesn't find it. Not a great way to play chess, hoping your opponent doesn't find the best moves, but gotta do what you gotta do. EF4, really? That one I'm surprised by. Maybe you play queen g6 now is the point. But your king is open. Why wouldn't you want to get the queens off the board? So I'll take the rook. Yeah, now when my queen comes to f3, his king is really dubious. Alright, so let's start with king g2, keep everything nice and safe. I might throw h4 at him at some point, but... You know, anything about the Sveshnikov is, like, even in this game where it feels like to me just about everything went right, like, it's never that amazing for white. Like, here I've just missed rook f8, which is a quite clever move, and my guess is black is completely fine here, in spite of, I believe, misplaying it a little bit. Let's go knight g4. If queen c2, my king can hide on h3, I guess. Yeah, as soon as I played it, I realized that this was not very smart, but that's okay. I will have some counterplay. So there, maybe I won't have some counterplay. Maybe I'm just busted. All right, got to play queen d3. Not a good sign. Okay, so trade skis. Yeah, so you're getting totally outplayed. This is not what I had in mind. Right, how am I going to save this? b4, I guess. All right, let's go b3 and start trading stuff with c4. I think that's my only hope. Yeah, so c4, d4, and then cb5, I think, is probably okay. I was totally outplayed this game, and the first one as well. I need to be playing better, but I believe this one I may survive as well. We will see. c5 is not good enough. Or no, I'm not going to survive this. I'm just busted. He's going to... Can I stop e5? e4? Probably not, so that should be the end of the game. Yeah, okay, this is not going to hold. All right, let's get the rook behind the passed pawn and hope for the best. But, okay, knight f4. Yeah, this is totally busted. But maybe I can pretend. If he plays d3, maybe I can take it. That one, I can now go c5. I think that e2, I think this e3 was an absolutely horrendous move, because now I have some chances to actually set up a blockade. Not good chances, but the fact that they're not zero is like huge for me. Okay, so rook c3, and that's actually a really good move. Yeah, this is gonna lose. All right, I gotta go knight back to f4, but at least my king will get in front at this point, but I should be completely lost. But with my king coming in front, at least I can hope for something on the white squares. So I don't get that move. He wants my pawn on a3. It's fine. Let's go rook d3, I guess. Oh, but he can go rook c2 check and then rook f2 check on d2. That should end the game. So I gotta play here. I'm putting up a lot more of a fight than I thought was remotely possible a second ago, but this definitely should lose. So I'll take that. If I take that, he has rook d2. So let's go here. That's checkmate. Okay, good game, Alan. Well played. Let's, he has evened the score because I played badly. Maybe I should go back to d4. That first game was better at some point. Okay, so that Najdorf I think went pretty well, so let's just repeat it. All right. 6, 7. Let's see if he knows bishop c4. Still doesn't play it. I'm gonna try this again. I'm quite confident this is good for black. I don't know if he has a different opinion, or maybe he's just confused because I haven't played bishop e7, but I think this is very good for me. So he wants this position again, which is surprising to me, but maybe he's more optimistic about it than me. Don't be a psychopath and take on d5. You can't give me both rooks on h1. No way, right? Knight e2. That feels like a more prudent decision, but wait, can I not take his rook with bishop f2 and something? Probably can, but do I even want it? I don't think I do, actually. I'm just going to castle and start attacking. Like a5, bishop a6 is going to come very, very fast once I'm castled. And then my rooks will come into play, and this looks very bad for white to me. 5, sure. Do I care? Maybe I do. Let's go queen b6 and hold it together. Then can he challenge my queen? Not really. Maybe I should have just been greedy and taken his rook, but I didn't like leaving myself with the French bishop. So let's get castled. If he plays f6, I'm pretty happy taking it. And if knight f4, I can play bishop g5. I think so. Bishop g5 here, and what's the big idea? Do you have one? I mean, he can sack on e6, but I don't really believe in it, so... Okay, rook f1, sure. a5, and where's bishop a6 is coming? What do you want? No, this is going to fall apart for white. I mean, he can make a mess with fe, bishop a6, knight d5, but bishop d3, knight b6, bishop f1, knight a8, rook a8, and I should be easily winning. So, queen b3, probably prudence, but also a very bad sign for white. So let's take it. cb, and now if I go like bishop a6, rook f3, he's alive. It's annoying. So, yeah, okay, he's sort of surviving this. He's a bit worse for sure, but let's go. Bishop a6 is a good start. That's a nice active square. And now I will just be boring and take this one, and then knight c5. Yeah, I'm just going to be boring, take this and play knight c5, and he cannot play rook c1 because of bishop knight d3. He cannot take an a5 because of bishop d3, and I think here I should be a bit better, but there's still some game to be played, of course. All right, let's protect this pawn. And now this is a very good bishop on a6. That's normally the bad French bishop, and here it's very powerful. I think I'm a bit better here, but it's not the end of the world for white. c3. It's a good move, I guess. So knight e4, rook c6, and king f7, and I don't think you're ever going to get your rook to the f file, so... But there might be bishop a5, so I got to be a bit more careful than that. Maybe just knight d7. Knight d7, bishop g3, though. Man, this guy's pretty good, actually. Yeah, okay, let's just go knight e4 and king f7. Maybe he'll play rook c7 instead, who knows, but No, he doesn't. So king f7, and if he takes on a5, I think knight f2 looks pretty good. Yeah, so I thought knight f2 was good now, unless I'm missing something, but he has to play rook d2 or else bishop d3 wins material on the spot, and then I take on g4, and my structure is a bit better than his, and he still cannot get to the f file very easily. So this should be pretty good for me. Bishop c7. Suppose that's a good move. Let's get this bishop out of dodge and stop h3 while we're at it. And I'm ready for maybe rook a6 next. Really? Am I missing something here? c3. Did I just blunder that? I'm not sure. Rook ac8, and what's the big idea? I don't know. Maybe I'm just lost here, but yeah, that's a good move. No, I'm getting outplayed pretty badly. All right. I still have some pawns for it, but bishop f1, rook f3, and I just lose, yeah? Yeah, this is horrible. All right, let's just take and make a mess. At least I'll get some pawns here. Maybe I won't even. All right, enough of this. All right, that was really bad. I think I was doing very well at some points, but getting outplayed. So let's go back to d4. I don't think he equalized that game. Yeah, let's try this again. I don't think he equalized, so. A3, take, and then after knight e4, I'm going to play e3 this time. I think is a more prudent decision. Maybe he'll play something else. Who knows? And that last game's bugging me, but okay. Bishop d7, queen b3, I guess. I think this should be very nice for me. He needs to play bishop d7 before castling. That's the only equalizing way. All right, if I take b7, I'm strategically completely winning. But I'm worried about knight d5, so I'm just going to be boring again. But this is always, this knight on e7 is so bad. Or c6, excuse me. b5. Don't really get it. It feels like it makes a ton of weaknesses in black's position, and I'm not worried about my bishop getting trapped or anything, so I think that was a strange move. Sure, so now I go e3, b4, bishop d2, and I'm ready for like bishop d3 and castle, and I don't really think he's going to just murder me on the queen side or something. I mean, he can get his pawn to b3 if he wants. I don't really think that helps him very much. Let's get the queen out of dodge. Yeah, sure. Get the queen back, and then if he takes on d2, I take with the queen, I guess, and then structurally this position is very dubious for black, but maybe he can make something happen with his latent development. Sure, queen e7. I don't believe that e5 is going to help you very much, so I'm going to ignore it. And I think white is much better already. This should be a nice respite after this last horrible game. So rook b8, but I'm not remotely scared of him invading on the b file, so I think should be very good for me. Rook fc1, keep the pressure up on all parts of the board. And rook a7 is not a glorious move, of course. I guess he wants to play e5 without allowing any funny business, but after e5 I can maybe play a takes b4. I'm even thinking of a takes b4 right now, but let's just go rook c5. That seems easy enough, stopping all of his counterplay and putting this rook on a nice active square. Sure, ba, can play rook b7 if you want. He did want, but I don't think it does very much for him. I'll play bishop d3, stopping any rook b1. The queen is going to come to c3 or something, and at some point black is going to have to be worried about knight d2 actually here. Knight d2 could be very painful out of nowhere if he's not careful. Or knight g5 even. And I think he really misplayed this, but I thought so last time and I got crushed, so I have to still be careful regardless of how I feel the position is going. Knight e7. Okay, so this feels like it has to fall apart. Knight g5, h6, knight e4, queen b6, rook c7. Looks absolutely horrendous for black. Knight g5, he could potentially play f5. Could play knight e5, threatening knight c4, and knight rook c7. Yeah, let's just go knight e5. This looks very, very powerful. Knight c4 is not messing around. Rook a5 is hanging, rook c7 is hanging, like black's whole position is hanging. Wait, is that a rook on b2? Yeah, it's a rook. Okay. All right, so we've evened the score, and then we go and play again. Okay, so yeah, okay, here. Let's keep doing this. This was fun. I think that the first game was more representative than the second. Queen takes d4. I don't think that's so great. All right, let's just develop normally. And d1. I think you have to be a little bit careful here, but black should be in decent shape. So let's start with b6, I think. Oh, did I just blunder e5? Right when I said I have to be at least a little careful. All right, let's not blunder e5 again. But this structure I think is pretty reasonable for black actually. It's going to be hard for him to contain all of the counterplay. So rook b1, I guess he wants to play b3. Seems sensible enough. Let's go like queen b8 so that I can play e6 and a6. So a6, and then e6 comes after. Oh, well, I didn't want to play e6 right away because of bishop a3, but now that once he plays bishop b2, then I will play e6, and yeah, okay, black should be quite fine here. Unless bishop a3, b4 beats me on the spot, which I don't think it does, so I'm not super concerned. All right, so knight, let's go rook d8, keep everything nice and safe. And I can play queen c7 next, I think, and yeah, I couldn't have played queen c7 earlier because there was always some knight b5, but maybe I should, or knight d5, but now that we've done this, I think I should be fine with queen c7, and I don't know, white's probably slightly better here, but it's so hard to make anything happen. That was it. Oh my god, what an idiot. Okay, just blundering everything. Just forgot that. All right, so now I'm just down a pawn for absolutely nothing because I wasn't paying enough attention. And completely lost, but maybe I'll be able to make a mess. At least I have the d4 square to fight for. So it takes, and now I will get a knight to d4, and that will at least cause some amount of annoyance. Of course, I should be in bad shape here, but I think this whole letting my knight get to d4 was a very poor way of handling the position for white. But we'll see if it comes back to bite him or not. Okay, so do I care about f4? Maybe. Just duck the bishop back preemptively. Yeah, let's go bishop g7 just to be safe. If e5, I can potentially play knight f5. If f4, I can play e5. I don't know. I mean, I'll be able to make a bit of a fight out of this, despite my ridiculous hanging of a pawn for dead nothing. So now his knight cannot get to c3. So I don't know what he wants to do. Let's go a5 and fight for some squares. I'd like to get e5 and bishop around to c5 if possible. Yeah, I might survive this. He's totally outplayed me for most of this match, but this one as well, I think I may manage to stay alive. His knight on d1 is very hard to fix. Bishop b1, is that knight takes b3, or am I missing something? Let's find out. What do you got? So this should be very much okay for me. The only question is if I'm going to win or not. So take, run my king to c5. Looks like a pretty good plan. Yeah, I think I might actually win this. My king is going to come very fast. He has to try f4, but now my king just... Oh, but he has e5 just in time, maybe? You have to play e5, right? Yeah, you found it. That sucks. I was probably careless. Let's still start coming this way. The nice thing is I can never lose, of course, but king g1, let me go bishop a6. Now I'm actually threatening to play king c6, and if he plays bishop e4, I can play a4 and make some trouble. He probably should hold this, but he's under pressure for sure. If my king gets to c5, I'm going to win. I think. Okay, so a4, and then I take this, and I get bishop b3 next. And I will take a pawn, but the problem is my kingside structure is very bad. And so I think that despite my pawn up, he has very real saving chances here. All right. Let's go. Nah, I'm just not quite in time to get my king into play. All right, let's go bishop c6 and poke his pawns a bit. And then king c7. At least it's hard for him to do anything. So I can go bishop a4 maybe. But he should hold this. My pawn structure on the king side is too bad. Bishop d7 and king c6. At least here I'm going to get my king somewhere semi-useful. But I still think he should hold this. My king side structure is just so bad. Okay, but now I get b5. Now we're talking. Let's go king b6, and I'm going to start playing b4 next. I'm going to just throw this pawn as far as I can, and whenever he tries to come catch it, my king will come to c5. So this actually does strike me as maybe still some chances here. Let's go bishop c6. Actually, now I might be winning. My bishop gets to d5. and then my pawn will go. Yeah, okay, now the pawn goes. So now I think I should have very real winning chances. So b4, f5, let's go b3, and then bishop d3, I'm gonna go b2, and now if he goes and tries to take the pawn, I have king c5. So, yeah, he didn't want it, understandable. But now I have bishop g2, and my bishop will come around to f5, and now I think I win. Okay, so bishop h3, and then we will take something, my bishop gets to f5, and that should end the game. Yes, it takes, and then I will get the d4 pawn, the e5 pawn, so I should easily win. Okay, so I think I only need to win one more game to win the match, but he also only needs to win one more game to level the score. So let's, hang on, did I click the wrong thing? No, we're good here. Okay, so let's try this thing again. It seemed to work pretty well. So dc4, let's go check. c6 takes, yeah, so he knew to play c6. He played knight bd7 against Ervin yesterday, which is a pretty stupid move. But now here, black is definitely fine. So if he knows what he's doing, which he probably does. He needs to play c5, but bishop f6, gf6, and if he had bought my semi-Slav course, he would know that. Yeah, okay, he knows. All right, so gf6, d5. And okay, I think black is doing quite fine here, but it's messy, it's interesting. Bishop b7 is the move, of course, but I don't know if he knows that. b4 is a big mistake after knight a4, because if queen d5, I can take and play knight b6, and if e d5, I have queen e3 check, and if queen e7, again, I can take and play knight b6. So now I think white is just better. Yeah, so check, and this is supposed to be quite good for white. I think e4 was probably not bad there either, but this check is, I think, exceptionally problematic for black to deal with. And he can try bishop e6, knight c5, d4, but queen c1 or something. All right, so I'll take this guy. I don't believe in any counterplay here, so this should be very good for me. But I do have to be careful because I'm a bit behind in development. I need to go g3, bishop g2, and castle to like secure basically a winning position, but also I have to not let anything bad happen to me in the meantime, and that's going to be the hard part. Queen b6, I don't understand. Rook c1, what's the big idea? You want knight d7, I guess? I suppose that makes some sense. Did I misplay this? I thought queen e3 was supposed to be the move, but yeah, okay. Let's, I've probably played this terribly, but you know, what else is new? I still think I'm reasonably comfortable here. I mean, we get this position where both of us have just absolutely horrible pawn structure, but if both of our structures are equally ridiculous, it's often going to come down to whose pieces are better, and I think that may well be me. His bishop on c8 is far from glorious, and mine is going to be a bit stronger, I think. The f5 square is sort of beckoning. But yeah, this is obviously a totally irrational position where both of us have extremely bad structures and pieces, and we will see whose is worse as opposed to whose is better. All right, so let's try to dominate that knight, not let it come to c4. But somehow I'm reasonably confident for white here. In this, I don't know. I guess your optimism has to come from looking at your opponent's structure and not at your own. That will cause optimism here, while looking at your own will make you pessimistic. So let's go king f2. That knight on b6 is really bad. Rook f8, sure. Knight h4, I guess. Seems like this knight coming to f5 isn't such a bad idea. Or maybe rook c7. No, let's go knight h4. This knight on f5 will be a good piece. Okay. Also, I was a little worried about bishop h6 coming, so now that's not a thing anymore, and I can bolster my knight with g4 whenever he attacks it. So, okay, rook a3, sure. Wants to counterattack that pawn on b3. I guess that makes some sense, but I'm not super scared either. I don't really want to play rook b1 though. Maybe I have to. Yeah, okay, I don't think his rook is any better than mine, so not glorious, but okay, so h5, he wants to play rook e5 next, but I still have bishop h3 to bolster the knight, so I'm not super concerned about that. Bishop h3, but he can potentially try to bring his king to g6, but I can always play g4 next. So yeah, I think g4 is probably my best move next regardless, actually. Open the g file and try to make trouble for him that way. That's a good move. Yes, let's attack the bishop with rook bc1. Bishop f5, rook c5, and I'm good to go. Yeah, let's attack this bishop. This rook b1 was probably not very smart. But okay, 5, huh? Sure. What is the big idea? You want to take on d4 or something, but okay, let's just overprotect my stuff for the moment. Seems like a good policy. F8 and make a passed pawn. G4. Yeah, okay, make a passed pawn. Bishop d4. If I go ed, what's the big idea? Rook e4, yeah? That is an annoying move. How annoying, though? Let's find out. Take, rook e4, knight g3, and then rook f4, king e3. Oh, that's a problem. Yeah, I've misplayed this badly. Okay, time to make trouble and try to make counterplay. This was very badly played by me. Okay, so rook c7, attack this knight again before it can come to e5. E8. If I go rook to h1 and then rook to b7, that looks like a lot of counterplay, but there's always some annoying. All right, let's play e3 and keep this pawn alive. So here and now. This is not pretty, but maybe I have some chance to hang on. Bishop f1, I guess. And the bishop is coming to b5 or something. If king d8, I can play bishop d. I can take on d7 and play bishop d3. Yeah, let's do that. Oh shoot, the rook gets back to e7. What a knucklehead I am. I thought the rook was trapped. Oh, and the rook even had another square. Okay, yeah, we're done here. Oh boy, I'm such a doofus. Okay, I was doing very well that game too. All right, so I guess we're tied with one more game to go. So if this is decisive, that will end it. So It's been a close match, but let's see. So let's try this again. We've just been playing this Najdorf the whole way through. I've got like a fair amount of points for it. Queen d4. Okay, let's go knight f6 this time. I think that's a smarter move. Bishop e2, and now maybe let's go g6 without committing the knight to c6. I think that's actually a pretty good idea. I don't want to commit the knight to c6 so soon. Yeah, so like here, if I go, yeah, the knight belonged on d7 last game. That much was clear. So let's see. So here, bishop b7. If e5, knight d5, queen somewhere. I don't believe that for half a second. Go play e5 if you want it. Okay, he did want it. If queen b3. Okay, so if d e5, queen b3 is a good move. Man, I'm missing everything today. If d e5, c4, e4, knight e1 or something, and I lose. So, and if e6, c4, I lose too. Man, am I going to lose this match? That'd be really sad. Okay, I could go knight d7 and make a mess. I could go queen c7 and make a mess. Queen c7 and then rook d5, queen c2, knight c3 or something. I should just lose. Man, I've misplayed everything so badly. Okay, let's go knight d7. That shouldn't be the end of the world. If rook d5, I can play bishop d5 and knight e5, and I have some counterplay. And if e6, I can play like knight c5 or something. So this, I've blundered again because I'm clearly on horrible form today, but I still think this is not the end of the world. I have some activity. E6, get this queen out of there. My rooks are not so bad here. I almost blundered queen f6 there and blundered into f4. That really would end the match. But here, I bring the bishop back. I go d5, d4, and I don't think this can be that terrible. So d5. Where's the queen going? d3, sure. So if I go e5, now let's go queen c7 and centralize the rooks first. Centralize this rook. e5 is coming, and I don't know. I'm probably worse here, but I think this is far from over. I was worried for a second that I was just going to lose immediately, but here I definitely have some counterplay. So I guess, how do I play this? Rook ac8, sure. Queen b5 is a good move. Let's challenge it with queen d7, I guess. Sure. Man, I'm going to lose this match. I've played so badly today. I certainly don't deserve to win it, let's put it that way. Take, bishop b5, rook d6, I guess I have to play. F4 is a good move, but bishop h6 makes trouble, I think. Maybe if I save this game, this is ridiculous. Of course I should just lose, but let's see. Can I go like d4 takes and then e takes f4 and then rook c2 or something? That looks like a fair amount of counterplay. Let's find out. D4. If CD4, I take on F4, and then Rook C2 is coming, and I'm at least making some kind of a mess, but so Rook C2, and now his king is very bad. It's gonna be very hard for him to just cruise straight through with his D pawn because his king is so misplaced. And it's very hard for the king to join the game. So I think I'm actually, I mean, I definitely think I should be like much worse here, but it looks a lot better than it did a second ago. Let's put it that way. Right, so let's start with king f8, get the king closer to the action. It's hard for him to find a move. Like, he can't play knight d4 because of rook d5. He can't play bishop c6 because of rook c6. It's very hard for him to actually make a move here. a4, I can take on b2, and where does the knight go? Rook d3 you want? Sure. But what comes next? Like if I go king e7 and then knight d4, rook d5, and I'm alive, and this king is getting good. That's a very clever move. That's a good one. This I missed. All right, so I have to try rook f6. This is probably just going to lose in like 3 moves, but what can you do? D6 check. I have to go back to d8. Or can I take on d6? Rook d6, rook b5. That doesn't look that clear, actually. Take d6, rook b5. If ab, king d6. If rook c6 or something, rook b4. If rook d4, rook b2, he's rapidly running out of pawns. You know what? I'm going to do it. We're going to see what happens. Yeah, rook b5, and now this is... Maybe white's just winning here, but this is not going to be easy at all for him to convert, and I think I have chances to push this to another couple games. So rook d2, let's go rook h5. d2, sure. Let's go like king e6, I guess. And it's going to be very hard for white to convert this, if not impossible. Rook c4, now I can destabilize the knight, maybe? Knight f3, okay, f6, where's this knight going? Knight d4, I have king d7, so king g3, sure. Let's go rook a5, I guess. And this is not easy for him at all. I think I may save this game. c7, okay, and now I can even make counterplay. Now let's go make counterplay here. Here. You can go rook g7, but rook b4, and like, I mean, who's better here? I don't even know. I don't think I'm risking much anymore. I think I've saved this. I was in trouble, but I've survived. So a4. Knight h4, just g5 or something. And that's actually a bit annoying. Maybe I can start, yeah, I'll start with this check. That's a clever move. And now I'm gonna get my stuff moving. So f5 check, and then, wait, f5 check, what's the big idea? Rook g3 check, and rook takes h3. And now check again. Am I gonna win this game? That'd be ridiculous. b5. Let's go for it. I think this might come back to bite me. I certainly could have made a draw there with a straight face, but I think I have chances to win the match right here, and I'm getting totally outplayed, so making the match shorter rather than longer is not unwelcome. Okay, rook. Nah, this is still he's gonna hold this, I think. So rook a1, and now 5. Yeah, okay, this is... I can't even play b3 because of rook a5 check. All right, so I gotta run in with the king. Yeah, I've misplayed this terribly, but that's okay. All right. Dos más partidas, caballero? Okay, so let's see, game 9. All right. Okay, so that all didn't work out so great. Let's try playing a Catalan. Maybe that'll work out better. He's been pretty good with this other stuff. So here, DC, let's go queen f4 check. If he doesn't know what he's doing here, he can be in some trouble, but black is definitely fine. So bishop e3. There is some Caruana and game as well as Ding playing this a couple times, and the point is to play knight h3, which is sort of an unusual place for the knight to develop in the Catalan, but that's modern chess for you. So rook b8. Let's go queen c1, I think. Get out of the way in advance. b5. b5, I can go like knight d2, and then I can take on b7 and go knight gf3, and I should have reasonably solid control over the c5 square, so I may have chances to fight for an edge here. And the queen's quite nice on c1 because it means that knight g4 or knight d5 I never particularly care. So yeah, let's now go knight b3 and eyeball the a5, knight a5. Maybe he doesn't care. Probably should though. But how does he stop knight a5? I guess he can castle and he always has bishop b4 check, but no, I think I'm a little better here. Queen a8. Can I go queen c6? Or can I go knight a5 and then bishop b4 or something? Let's just castle and be simple. What does he want? a5. This I thought I could play queen c6 against. Let's find out. Queen c6, and then what's your move? I don't see it. Knight a5 is coming. Is that a pawn after knight takes a5, or am I missing something? I think that's a reasonably clean pawn. Let's just take it and find out. Yeah, but he will have some counterplay here, which is a bit annoying, but I should still be clearly better. Knight d5, sure, so bishop d2, I guess, and now I'm ready for potentially e4. The problem is rook a6, I can always play a3, and the rook on a1 ends up defended at the end of the variation. So yeah, I can play a3 here. He'll probably play knight b6, and it's still quite annoying to put this away, but I think I have good chances. For example, if knight 7 b6, okay, c5 even. Wow, I wasn't expecting that. So let's take it, and then take it, and then bring this rook to c1, and now he has two passive rooks that maybe I can make trouble against in the meantime. So let's go like knight e5. If b4, of course, I have to take it, but I think he has to try b4, but the problem is, like, once my knight comes to d3, I think I have things pretty well under control. And if he takes on b4 and allows me to play rook c7, that's also not really something black wants to do either. Yeah, so now my rook gets to c7. I'm a clean pawn up, and he has some back rank trouble, and my rook is on the 7th rank. So this should be very good winning chances for white. But now, where do I put my knight? Knight d3 takes it and gets rook a7 in time. Don't really want that. Knight f3 is probably fine. Let's just go knight f3. The knight coming to d4 could be pretty annoying. I think I have very good winning chances here. Okay, so rook b7, save the rook. He should play rook a7 and accept a pawn down and try to argue that my b pawn is going to be very hard to move forward. That I think is not great because of rook d1. But I don't know. There have been lots. Okay, that's his point. But the rook is now in the wrong spot. He wants his rook in front of my pawn. So here I still think this is very good winning chances. Okay, so knight d2, get your rook out of my face. And then my knight gets to e4, and then this could get very bad for black. So knight e4. My king will be quite fine on f3 whenever he needs to go there. Should play h6, I guess, but I think I have very good chances here. I don't know if he's worried about knight c3 or not. Might be a problem, actually. Rook d4. King f3, and then f5, knight g5 looks like collapse, so I'm not going to overthink it. And if he doesn't play f5 and I get to play e3 and g4, the game's very much over. So he has to play f5 and hope for the best, but knight g5 looks like the end. All right, so he wants a knight endgame, but I have very strong doubts that that will hold it together. So let's start with knight d6, keeping his king under control, and then bring my king over to the relevant part of the board. So check, he must play king f7, and now I'm getting my pieces to where they need to be. So here, let's go knight e3, and now his knight is going to get dominated pretty quickly here, and now the b pawn is coming. So b4. Let's go f3, keep the king out of my face. And now check on e3, and king c4 comes, and I'm starting to consolidate. So king c4, he's going to go knight b5, of course, and now knight g4, and I start taking his stuff. Too many threats. Knight d4. Sure, I'll take on f6, and then take on h7, and my knight gets back to g5, and I have it all under control. And white wins. Okay, so second match point. The Sicilian was working well to a point, but it has ceased to work well, so I'm going to play e5 on the first move. So let's see what he has in store for me. d4, Scotch, okay. All right, so we're gonna have a fun game today. So let's go here, and then h4, I think a5 is supposed to be a clever move. g3, let's go bishop a6, I guess. c4, I will go, I'm sort of freestyling here, but let's go knight b6, and then b3, a4. Probably just getting totally outplayed like always, but okay, so queen e6, and now bishop h3, I can give a check on b4 before moving my queen. So let's start with this check. King f1, and now let's put the queen back on e7, I guess. At some point I can play d5. I don't know. These scotches are interesting, but It's rather a shame, but I think they're usually not very good for white. They're a lot of fun, which is, it's a shame that the fun chess tends to end up being unsound, but it's kind of how it goes sometimes. All right, so now, is he threatening to play a3, b4? Probably, but so if I castle a3, nah, okay, I'm just going to castle. If he plays a3, I can do any number of interesting things to make a messy position, and that's all I think I can really hope for here. And I'm potentially ready for d5 next. If queen g4, I think I can play a3 and then win the e5 pawn. I might want to play a3 anyway soon to just go c5 and get my bishop to b7 without getting my other bishop trapped. So here, let's see, what if d5? Is there some big idea? a3, bishop c5, a3, bishop d6 maybe actually. If I play a3, bishop c3, and then d5, a3 followed by d5 feels really good. Let's just do it. Yeah, I will get d5 in now. I'm getting a lot of play here. But it's still, he still could throw stuff at my king, so it's certainly not over by any stretch. I mean, I think I'm reasonably confident with black's position, but I don't think it's a disaster for white or anything. The Scotch often comes down to this bishop on a6. I mean, it's such a bad piece, and if you get d5 through, it's such a good piece. It just really depends one way or the other. And so here he takes, so I must take back. And now knight d2, that's fine. I will take on c4. And then if he takes back, I probably take with the bishop. And I think black is very comfortable. Yeah, let's take with the bishop on c4, or with the knight. Actually, knight takes c4 looks pretty good too. Let's take with the knight, because if rook b1, I'm ready with knight b2. Or knight d2. You should probably play something like e6 and just go for it, but whoa, that one I wasn't expecting. Now bishop c4, doesn't my bishop get to d5? So bishop comes to d5, that's a very good bishop all of a sudden. Okay, let's start attacking his pawns. Should play bishop g2 probably, but there I can play queen e4, I think. And I can never lose, and I need a draw to win the match, so let's play queen e4. Yeah, okay. So bishop d5 first, I think, is good policy to try to attack this a2 pawn, and I'm going to be 2 pawns up in this endgame. And okay, so if I play rook eb8 and then my rook lands on b2, that feels like a very good way to conclude the game. But rook eb8, take, rook to d3 is maybe a little bit annoying. So I'm going to be safe and take on e5. I have a feeling rook eb8 was winning on the spot, but safety first in this case. All right, so let's just make Luft for the king. Seems like a good idea. And as long as I don't blunder something totally ridiculous here, I should win this game very routinely. Or at least not lose. If f4, rook e6, he cannot take twice on d5 because of rook e2. So here, I think I have this under control. Rook c2, sure. I guess I can play. What should I play here? Rook a7 is sad, but probably good. Let's just go Rook a7. Safety first. I mean, I'm sure I can do something better, but I just don't care. I've not deserved to win this match at all, and I just want to get it over with. That's the end. Maybe that was a mouse slip, but okay. Okay, gracias por jugar, Allen. Eres jugador muy fuerte y creo que you should have won. My Spanish is bad, I'm sorry. But yeah, I got very lucky this match. I definitely should have lost it, I think. But, you know, you get lucky sometimes. That's how it goes. But yeah, I guess. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'll be playing with Nihal, and if I play like I did today, I don't expect to win, but I'm optimistic that I will play better than that. So yeah, I don't know. I feel bad that this one. I think this one may have ended on a mouse slip. I think Bishop f3 that he played was a mouse slip, but I also think I was never losing this game. So yeah. Okay. So